welcome to another episode of Mind to Five. A segment done here, and with my co-host. That's you.
That's me, Daniel Muller from Psychonaut Sessions. How you doing, man?
Doing well. This is our little joint project where we kind of jump back and forth on each other's shows, and sometimes together, sometimes separate. But tonight, in honor of Spider-Man No Way Home, we are going to do our top 5 live action Spidey scenes. So basically we pulled from the Raimi trilogy, the Andrew Garfield,
Mark Webb
duo, and then Tom Holland's 2 thus far is what we had to pull from. So
no animation.
Yeah, we didn't do any animation, sadly.
All live action.
Because, I mean, we both agreed, Spideyverse would be on here.
Yeah, I was just telling you, Spider-Verse would probably be possibly my number 1 Spidey movie, like all around. Just
all 5 scenes would be from Spideyverse. All right, that's fair.
Possibly, definitely, just all around movie. I mean, it's just so good. I can watch it over and over again. And part of that's the appeal of the animation, but it's a great story too, and the character. It's just all good.
Yeah, 100%. But that being said, you won't see any of that on these lists. Nor will you see. We did toy with the idea of having like the old 70s Spidey flicks, but we went feature films. Just to keep this easy, we learned from the first episode. Let's just take it. Let's be kind to ourselves and go with those 7. So, that being said, we always do 2 honorable mentions. And Mr. Muller, if you would care to go first with your honorable mentions.
Okay, I'll go with my honorable mentions. Both of my honorable mentions are Sam Raimi films.
Okay.
So the first one is Spider-Man 1 in the festival parade scene when Green Goblin attacks. And the very second, the moment that he screams, "We'll meet again, Spider-Man!" I can't tell you how much the 8-year-old inside of me just exploded with, that's the best thing ever. That was like one of the best things ever. And then Spider-Man 2, the Doc Ock train fight scene.
Okay.
But that was, again, one of the first real, like, hardcore superhero fights that I think we ever saw on film. That was just old school, like, comic book fighting. It was just miraculous.
The pacing, everything.
Those are my honorable mentions, man.
No, solid picks both. So I also chose one from 2002 Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's first. And that was actually Peter trying to get his webs to shoot on the rooftop where he's going Shazam, and he does the devil horns and he's trying to figure it out.
I almost picked it.
I thought that scene was hilarious. I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan, so like it fit real well for me. And then my other one is actually from 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming, where Michael Keaton's Toomes is threatening Peter in the car before the dance.
Yeah,
he just subtly turns. He's got the gun.
Nice.
And Michael Keaton crushed that scene. Holland crushed that scene, and being, I'm not scared, but this is bad. And phenomenal
really good
scenes.
Nice.
All right.
Solid picks.
Solid picks. We did well. All right. Now I'm excited to see what our lists are. All right. So, number 5. What do you got?
Number 5, 2019's Far From Home. When Spider-Man goes to see Fury, and it ends up being this trippy Mysterio scene that's just all illusion. I mean, you get full-on Mysterio with his globe head fighting with Spidey. You get multiple Spideys beating up Mysterio. You get an Iron Man zombie. You get freaking Mysterio becoming a giant, and then like his globe being a snow globe. Like that's everything you want to see in a Mysterio like scene, like all condensed in that like 5 minutes. Is like the best. That scene, that movie, like all around was like, it was good. I loved it.
Yeah.
But when I saw that scene, I was like, that's all I needed. I can walk out of the theater right now. Like that's all I went for. That was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
nailed Mysterio.
Yeah. What about you, man?
All right, my number 5 is from. So this, I should have said beforehand. This list actually surprised me. I did not land where I have always assumed that I would land.
Same here.
In a situation like this, but my number 5 is actually from 2014's Amazing Spider-Man number 2, and it's Gwen's fall in the clock tower.
Ooh.
It's not. So I thought Emma Stone did a fantastic job as Gwen, and the chemistry between her and Andrew Garfield made the sequence as shocking and painful to watch as it did reading it when it played out effectively the same in Amazing 121. Like, I've watched the flick, I've only seen the flick 3 different times, and each time it's got flaws. The movie's got flaws. I'm not
tons.
But that scene, top to finish, like, they nailed it. It's hard for me to watch each time.
So the Amazing Spider-Man movies are my son Dragon's favorite Spider-Man movies, and probably some of his most favorite movies of all time. And he says that scene crushes him like every time. It's
so subtle, and yet so like her head hits, and you're just ugh.
Yeah.
And I pick it not because I love watching her die, but because it's so effective.
So like, good.
I was crushed when I read it in the comics. So they did a brilliant job. All right,
100%.
What's your number 4?
Okay, number 4. All right, we're gonna return back to Mark Webb's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. So, 2012. Again, like you said, just because these are our favorite scenes doesn't mean these are our favorite movies. Because the Mark Webb movies are not my favorite movies, but it had some excellent scenes, and so I'm going to go a little bit mushy with this one. I'm going with the scene with Gwen and Peter. You talked about their chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
There's this scene when they're just like in the halls alone in high school and they're just talking, and it's this connection they have. The very beginning of the scene, Uncle Ben's there, and Ben's like, "Oh, hey, I saw you on his computer," like totally embarrasses Peter for this like awkward interaction. And they're both just like, and the whole time Peter's like, "Hey, you wanna do," but he never finishes. And she's like, yeah, totally. And like you said that, and maybe it's because they dated at the time. I don't know. But I also think Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are incredible actors.
100%.
Some of the best chemistry and the love chemistry between the two of them just made that whole relationship, made those movies. The movies, I think, would have been 10 times worse without that chemistry between the two of them. And I wish we could have seen that level of chemistry with Peter and all the other Mary Janes and whoever, and his love
all the other iterations
of the movies, because that's 100% like what you need to see, and the way he invests in another human being, and you really, really feel it. If you don't, you're just soulless.
Fair enough.
Yeah. A mushy love scene, but it's damn cute, man. It's a cute scene.
No, I'm with you. All right, my number 4 is from 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when Spidey battles the Vulture aboard the Staten Island ferry.
Mm.
It nails. So basically, my progression with the Spider-Man movies is they got Peter and Spidey, in my opinion, closer to the mark of a comic version that I love in each iteration. And Holland Spider-Man quipping, and the banter as he's bouncing around the ferry and dodging, the bumbling when he's got Vulture's gun and he's trying to figure it out, it starts firing and ends up destroying the ferry. Like, he almost saves the day, but he's like 92%, and he's like 92, and then Iron Man shows up. So I mean, it was just perfect Spidey, especially a younger Spidey. It had that Ultimate Spider-Man feel where he's a kid, like he feels like a kid. He's trying his best, but his best just isn't good enough given what he's up against. And that scene is the pinnacle of that to me. That's my
definitely like an ultimate Spider-Man, Brian Michael Bendis feel in that scene, in that iteration of the character. I agree. Yep.
I dug it. All right, what's your number 3?
Yep, I'm not gonna argue that. Okay, number 3, dude, we hit our first crossover.
Oh, it's gonna happen a ton
of
actually.
picks. Yeah. So, well, it's just like our first time filming this. Like, there was no.
Yeah.
But so the Vulture scene in Homecoming, 2017, that when he finds out that that's Peter Parker, and he sits there and he brings the gun up. What like slaughters me about that scene? Yes, Michael Keaton is just great. Like, he's done some campy, weird stuff, but when he's on, that man is on. He is an excellent actor. And when he basically just like completely threatens Peter's life and says, I'll kill you and I'll kill your whole family. And then he says, now, hey, aren't you going to thank me? I just saved your life.
Right.
Thank me. And forces Peter to thank him out of that whole, like, just the that is like the best interaction between Peter and any villain, I think. And let me see, make sure I'm not like going to corner myself. Yeah, that's the best interaction between Peter and any villain in any of the movies, hands down. Just like that killed it for me. That,
yeah,
so good, so good.
Well, and the fact that they get to that scene coming out of the house scene where he's at home and he's chopping up veggies and he's like, hey Pete, hell of a grip, and they're like, he hasn't put 2 and 2 together yet, so he's in full dad mode.
Yep. And
then she gets out of the car, and on a dime, his eyes go dead. He's got the gun, and it's just, oh, he's so good.
What's great is there's the scene when it clicks for him is when it's at the stoplight, and it's red, and then as soon as it clicks, that green shines on his face.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a really subtle thing, but it's very intentional by the filmmakers, and just,
right.
You know, because Vulture's green costume, and just so, wow, what a, I mean, I was really worried when I heard about the Vulture at first, but Michael Keaton just made the Vulture so damn cool.
Oh, that entire top to bottom, like the iteration of him, like the way they did the flight jacket to be the, so good. All right, so my number 3 is from 2012's Amazing Spider-Man, and this is Spidey battles the Lizard on top of Oscorp Tower.
Nice.
And my love of the Lizard is, harkening back to our first episode, is basically Todd McFarlane's fault. Like, I loved Torment with the Lizard, and like, so I already dug the Lizard a ton. Right. Reese Ifans was great as Connors, but that battle and how the ferocity of the Lizard when he's on top of it, he's flinging Spidey out the building and he's having to catch and swing back around, and like then Captain Stacy shows up and he's just mowing him down with the shotgun and shooting him back into the so good. And then like as they're racing to the top, you know, and it's already the antidote, but then the antidote explodes and the Lizard's falling and it's starting to affect him immediately. Just, that battle's awesome.
That battle almost made it into my list, except for the fact of how he got to the battle. Like, kept cutting it back for me. Like, that's one of those things. And again, these movies would have been so great, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, if like choices like that would have been dialed back a little bit. And I'm speaking to all of the Cranes being able to like get in the same, like that whole thing was just like, oh, come on.
See, I didn't mind it so much. I actually really like Amazing Spider-Man. It's the second one where they lost me, but that's another list.
For numerous reasons. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Number 2.
Okay, I'm taking it back again. 2002 Spider-Man. Same year you said Spider-Man. Just the scene of Norman Osborn at the mirror, just with his drink in hand, and he's going back and forth between the Goblin and Norman, and you get this. One of the best casting choices, literally, of all time was Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, and that was the thing about that movie that I hated, is that as the fucking mask. Like, I want to see Willem Dafoe's face be Green Goblin, and that was like the only scene you really got to see it. and it was astounding. And that's what I'm looking so much forward to the new movie, because I think we're gonna get to see his face as Green Goblin.
Yeah, well, and rumor has it it's just him with a cowl, like a hoodie up.
Good, fine.
Yeah.
Yes, like you don't need a mask with Willem Dafoe.
Right.
It's like,
no, yeah,
because he was the perfect choice. But it's like we only got that one scene, but that scene is one of the best villain scenes in any movie. It's just great. It's so well executed. It's perfect.
No, he does a brilliant job doing the back and forth in the mirror.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, so here's another crossover.
Uh-oh.
My number 2 is from 2019's Spider-Man Far From Home, where Mysterio traps Spidey in the illusion.
Yeah.
I mean, basically everything you said, up to the building fades away, Fury shoots Quentin, and, it makes Spidey dumb up and be like, yeah, the only ones that know are my friends, where the projector is. And I mean, the snow globe, his helmet turning into the snow globe, turning into the cemetery, zombie Tony or Iron Man at Tony's grave, everything you said, and then only to end up hit by a train at the end of it.
I know.
No, I love Mysterio. It's established that I love Mysterio, and that scene was perfection as far as nailing what Mysterio can bring to the table as a villain.
Only a true comic fan that grew up in that era, I think, could have created that scene. Like the guys I forget the screenwriters, but it's John Watts that directed it. But it's like Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, the screenwriters. Like they all had to have been from that era and just oh God, this is what we're doing. This is 100%.
Amazingly good.
I can't argue with
our
you, sir.
lists, so
there's not going to be no argument in this episode.
No, it's all right. I don't know what kind of fanfare we should have. A little drum roll. What out of the 7 live action feature films of Peter Parker is your number 1 scene?
I struggled with this, okay? But it's literally the worst movie out of all of these. It's the one I like the least, but I think it's just one of the best overall Spider-Man scenes. And it's the opening scene for Amazing Spider-Man 2. And for all the reasons for all the reasons that you picked Andrew Garfield as one of the best Spider-Men, because of the way he interacts, the way he's funny as hell. He makes fun of the villains that he's fighting, and it's a shitty version of the Rhino we're seeing too. He's just driving a truck. But just the way the scene even starts, you just see the Spider-Man emblem, and then it turns into the back of his suit falling. We get to see a version of the suit that's the perfect version. It's the perfect banter. He's helping people and saving people. I hate this version of Electro, but when he saves the dude, and the interaction with them, the whole, and then you get the interspersement of the graduation ceremony,
right? Along with,
it's just I actually literally can just watch that opening scene over and over and over and don't ever need to watch the rest of the movie, because I really can't. Other than I agree with you on the Gwen Stacy dying scene, but the rest of the movie is just is painful.
So that's what was interesting to me in rewatching all these to make this list. The stuff that I used to just be that's deplorably bad movie. I still don't they're still the bottom of my list if I were to rank all 7, but I don't dislike them as much as I had. And I don't know if it's because the sting is out a little bit. I already know that the parts I don't like, and I don't like them anymore now. But the parts that I did like, I do like a little more now. So it's this weird, I don't know.
I agree. And there's a lot of other great scenes in that movie. I mean, when he sneaks into Oscorp, he does this Charlie Chaplin shit with the guards. This is the perfect version. Andrew Garfield, I like his version of Spider-Man even better than Tom Holland's, and I love Tom Holland's.
Too. Yeah, it's great. I'm with you. But, I that's what I meant by what was a weird discovery. One of the things that was a weird discovery in watching these is I didn't land. I would have told you, much like I was saying, where this didn't land at all where I thought I was going to land, because I would have been like, it was funnier. Or, I mean, he's gotten funnier and wittier, the banter and with everything as they've gone along. Tom Holland does that more than anybody else. But for some reason, Garfield's Peter and Spidey are actually, if I was ranking the three, that would be my number one.
He's got like a little bit of an edge to him too. He's got like, he can be a punk a little bit, and Spider-Man can be a little bit of a punk.
Right.
Like you can push him, and he's going to push back. You know, and Tom Holland and both Tobey and Maguire have a little too much of this softness to them. As great as they both are. Yeah.
Well, no,
I still think they're totally great, but
you
just got that little bit of an edge to him that's like, you don't want to push Peter.
Well, and that's the thing when Spidey came out in 2002, that was the best we had. I mean, that was it. I loved it. As it's gone along, and now looking back, sure, graphics wise, there are some that don't hold up, but there are actually some that do hold up, which I find astounding 20 years later. But it's in comparing the three Peters, Maguire's is just so angsty, just so very angsty,
kind of whiny.
I can't. So he ranks third, and again, it's third favorite. It's not like this list goes further down their shit, but anyway.
And the least liked love relationship too, I think, because their love thing is just like, oh, come on, get over it, you two. Like, I much more enjoy Tom Holland's and God, I can't remember the gal's name.
Zendaya.
Theirs is fun. I enjoy it, and of course, I've already established Andrew Garfield's and Emma Stone. So.
Right. No, I'm with you. No,
where's your number one at, dude? We're like talking forever.
My number one. This is our last crossover. My number one is from 2004 Spider-Man 2, The Battle atop the Subway Train with Doc Ock. Doc Ock is my all-time favorite Spider-Man enemy, like of the Rogues Gallery of Spidey. I know Green Goblin is the one that everybody goes to, but something about those arms when I was a kid, and the fact that he was a scientist and he's not a mustache twirling bad guy. Like he's been messed up. But mostly as a kid, it was visually. I loved those arms. I loved that they just swing around and punch Spidey in the face, and Spidey would have to dodge this one, but then this one would be coming. So Alfred Molina did a masterful job as Otto Octavius.
Total genius.
That is the thing I am most excited for. Of a long list of things I'm excited for with No Way Home, seeing him back is the thing I'm most excited for. That Hello Peter, oh my God, from the trailer, I was so happy. I went from being like, okay, I'm a little Marvel fatigue, but Eternals didn't do much for me. Fine, there's another Spidey. That trailer knocked all that away. It's like, nope. It's 2002 again, and I'm on the eve of seeing Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man. Like, I am so excited. But the way, they skittered around the train, like him chasing him, the arm would come here, Spidey'd go around the side or through the train. That entire fight, all the way up till like him stopping it, which it could have gotten a little like you felt about the cranes in Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. Mm-hmm. It could have gone that route with the people of New York like picking up and carrying an unconscious, but for some reason it lands perfect for me. Like he does all this, he like stops the train, and they keep him from falling, and that's like the perfect moment. I mean, yes, Doc Ock grabs you and immediately, Spidey loses the fight, but that scene was, I already knew that was the one. I was like, I'm gonna watch all these movies, but I'm pretty positive that scene's gonna be my number one, and it was. I mean, there were some that got, the battle for 2 and 3 was a little closer, but 1, it wasn't really a contest. I mean, it was always gonna be this for me.
There's these moments in the Spider-Man movies that they keep trying to conjure, and it was mostly in the like earlier ones, the closer to 9/11 that we were, where it was like New Yorkers were like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Like,
well, it's the exact line from Raimi's.
Exactly. It's this like cheesy thing, but you're right. In the train scene, that's the only time when New Yorkers came to him that was like totally forgivable, because it was very believable. It was very believable that like everybody would recognize this guy just saved our lives.
Right.
And we're going to respect to that, I thought it was great. I loved it. 100%.
I mean, it's on both our top 5 lists. So clearly it had an impact.
Well, it was honorable mention, but
still mentioned in a top 5.
Almost made it to the 5.
That means it was right there. So yeah.
I mean, again, like I said before, that was the first superhero fight on screen that I think I was ever really truly impressed with. Like, this is out of a comic.
Yeah.
That I can remember, because Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man was great, but the fights still were just like, it wasn't to the par of that.
Right.
Man.
I mean, we're when MJ falls from the thing at the festival, and like you can tell she's, they had not mastered the whatever you call it, the hookup situation. Can't remember.
No superhero movie really mastered that kind of level of superhero fighting up to that point. Because think of like the X-Men movies and stuff like that. That took things to this like whole other level. And I think there's actually even whole like analysis that have been done on YouTube, if you follow YouTube people, of that train scene and how pivotal it really is.
Yeah.
In the superhero like, cinema sort of, history. But anyway,
interesting.
I could be wrong, but whatever.
We love it. So
that's
all that matters.
Badass.
For the context of this video, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. But really, really good assignment, Mr. Conaway. Really good assignment. I really appreciated this.
Yeah, no, it was like I said, it was a little more of a softball compared to our first team up.
At least we got the requirements right. Like there was no misinterpretation of the requirements on my part or whatever.
We did. We came together on the idea. We didn't. It wasn't just anyway. All right. So that being said, you're up? What's our next topic?
Okay. The next time we meet, I mean, you can do your own Mind to Fives. I'll do my own Mind to Fives.
Sure. The next time duo.
Yeah, the next duo Mind to 5. It'll be on my channel, so stay tuned. And we're going to do best top 5 films that are the adaptation of a novel.
Novel
adaptations
of a feature film. Let's clarify now.
What do you mean by that?
Also, for like instance, I wouldn't pick this because the second half wasn't good, but 1990s It with Tim Curry as Pennywise was ABC. It wasn't a feature film.
No, if it's a made-for-TV movie or direct-to-video, I don't give a shit. Yeah,
that'll broaden the spectrum some, so that's interesting.
Yeah, any movie. I just kind of want to see what your take is with this, so we could talk a little bit about the movie. We can talk a little bit about the novel.
Sure. Okay.
And it'll kind of expand our horizons a little bit.
So do we come at it? So this is part of where we got off kilter with last time.
No television series.
No. No. Are we picking what essentially our Mount Rushmore? Like, these are the best, or these are the ones we just love, and they like how much technically and maybe overthinking this. Yeah,
I mean, so for me, that the Mount Rushmore that you speak of, in my personal interest, in my interpretation of Mount Rushmore, kind of collide anyway. So
okay.
I mean, if it's totally just like, well, this isn't a novel, but Ewoks is the greatest fucking movie ever, man. Like, if that's what rings your bell, that's what rings your bell.
Okay. So
I'm not looking at the like Citizen Kane sort of thing,
right?
necessarily.
Which I guess
this is the most well executed.
Right.
Like,
that's
what you think,
where I'm coming at.
Yeah, what you think is the best adaptation. It doesn't mean it has to be a straight up perfect adaptation either, right?
Okay.
It's just like, I love this iteration of this book into film. It's just great. I care more about your passion than I care about any kind of like artistic aesthetic bullshit, man.
All right, cool. Well, that's easy enough then. So actually, it's not. It's going to be a little tough.
No, yeah, it's going to be really.
It's not going to be as hard, I think, as our first episode.
Yeah,
that one was tough, but
yeah, that was a toughie.
Anyhow, that's
we'll have to revisit that level of topic again after. I think you and I have to learn each other's chops a little bit too. Like,
yeah,
we're feeling this out.
Right. Yeah, learning as we go. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was our top 5. Well, this part's been meandering, rambling, but top 5 Spidey scenes from a live-action Spider-Man movie in preparation for Spider-Man: No Way Home, coming out Wednesday, Thursday, one of those days. By the time this airs, it'll already be out.
Yeah,
you lucky bastards! You've probably already seen it.
Yeah. Yep.
But
we'll have seen it by then. We'll have
seen it Saturday, so I won't have seen it.
It'll probably be a little bit before I get to see it, unfortunately. But
yeah, stay away from online. Anyway, that's enough. You got anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say?
No, man. Just go see the movie and pay attention to Aaron's channel. Pay attention to my channel.
Same. Psychonaut Sessions. All the links will be down below. But yeah, throw us a like, a subscribe, a share, all the stuff that you do.
Cool.
All right. Until next time.
Drinks around the table.
Psychonaut Sessions.